Hello, into the Mr. Jack Blackley stuff, into an episode of Mr. Jack Blackley that I want to introduce is where it goes into the drugs of the death cult and how within the drugs of the death cult, say that Campbell I spoke about is just like fictional, but still within the stories, to keep the stories going for what I want to save it for, is to piece it together that within that, one of the landwalkers went into the relationship with one of the death cult's sister's daughter. Now, in the death cult sister's daughter, they got their 12 mixes as it spreads around the country, as it goes into different locations. And this location is where they took in for the drop, in that the New Morella. And now, understandably, where and what I'm putting this piece together for into my story of that within the Mr. Jack Blackley series, as the landwalker has gone out, in the relation that he tethered onto to be oh so close, to be eyes onto it within that piece, to go through it as she was a part of it, but she wouldn't have known anything from that, in that the girlfriend of the landwalker. Understandably, what happened was, when it comes down to it, they took her into a hideout situation and replaced her, where latex mask, closest resemblance into it, to replace her in the actual community, while they bamboozled the landwalker to say that she didn't exist, but for the landwalker it was just job detail, as they kept her hostage in that, tied up. Little meme that comes to mind is they're taking the mobile phone away from the daughter is she possessed, and that picture as she's on the bed pulling those funny faces and all that is like tied up in imprisonment, as she wants to get out and live a life, as the witches of their death cult, like the sisters of their death cult, do as they please to try and further their drug scene, as it came down to it just after the understandability of the takedown. That's where that bit slips in. And for the landwalker, he tosses and turns should he rescue her, but seeing the understandings of it, that she'll come out of it fine, he loses a relation, but that's about all there is with it. When it comes down to the job on understandings, they busted the dope, they got rid of that outlaw, they connected their tribes into the understandings that they supplied the drugs back at the very beginning into what I speak about of the Mr. Jack Blackleys, to where the military, the doctor had described to his son on the work experience, and he was trading it off for drugs. That's where it pretty much branches back into. That's right at the start in the movie, to how it goes into the job files, to how he gets such a strong head into it to be the landwalker, to take on things like the Ravenhawk or the Meatworks horror, or some of the episodes within that, to be able to be stable within the situation, to be not too attached, to have grown up within that, as I spoke, and like all the episodes as it goes into it as half an hour or hour episodes, as I put it together for myself in my TV series. And basically where it goes into it is where he learns strength, and that's in the like that's from the movie bit which I spoke about, by that losing the relation, which I put in now as a bit more for furtherment, as it kicks in to say in the movie of the basis, so you like catch up to it. He has the movie, they have the military soldier in the hospital of the nuclear research. He pretty much goes into it where the doctor has work experience with his son and dissolves the information to his son, and pretty much turns around, his son sells it off for drugs. And then you're thinking it was such a boring start. Well, I thought it was such a boring start, it needs a bit more, to where it goes into where they get the drugs and is that death cult, in that the first job that he took on is the Heathcote job, but into the death cult to where they get the drugs in, say, New Morella, in that piece I put in, to be in a relation at the same time, to play another part of it, like not just within that, say, the laboratory job where he lays in there with in the laboratory to be the the worker who gets abducted by the crazy insurgent, the Russian. But anyway, 5 minutes into it, that's a quick briefing into it. And say it goes into his job series to where he just works it further and further to where it pieces itself out for myself. If not people cotton onto it, just myself. And yeah. Anyway, Mr. Jack Blackley, peace. 5.5 minutes.